Sorenameka Sereninyameka. Welcome, Karanameka Sereninyameka, to this wonderful new episode. Soretaveka Sereninyameka Sereninyaki. This episode, we're going to be talking about the wisdom of the herbs. Saretake Sereninyameka. But before we get into this episode, let's close our eyes. I invite you to close your eyes if that feels safe for you, or just look at one point in front of you, or down if that feels best. Let's take a deep inhale through the nose. Hold the breath, relax the shoulders, the belly, the hips, the diaphragm, and exhale. Let's do it 2 more times. Take a deep inhale through the nose. Hold the breath, relax the shoulders, relax your tongue, the throat, the belly, diaphragm, hips, and exhale. Last time, take a deep inhale through the nose, hold the breath. And set up your intention to listen to this episode, to this transmission. Perhaps there's something here for you. Perhaps with this intention, something will come through for you. And exhale. Beautiful. Beautiful. Welcome, 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 welcome. The wisdom of the herbs. This is something that honestly, I just got into it. Or let me change my words. I just remember it because I truly feel that it's not something that we get into or something that we're learning, depending on the specifics about learning, right? But it's something that we're remembering, connections, connections. And so I've been working with herbs this whole year because I've been doing a 10-month herbalism apprenticeship course. And my teachers are fantastic, like super fantastic. I can definitely put a link down below. So if you're in the Kansas area or if you are in the States, because you can actually take the course is online and they can ship it in the States. Unfortunately, not for out of the country, at least not right now. So I was mind blown, honestly, by all the experience that I have had with herbs. And of course, it made so much sense when my teachers were talking about, yeah, this is something that our ancestors did, for sure. I totally get it. And at the same time, I mean, of course, if we think about plant medicine, right? Herbs are also medicine. They're also plant medicine. It's just that at times it's not really talked about like that because I feel anyway that in our world, the concentration a little bit is more towards psychedelics and things like that. And it's been such a life-changing practice. And I use herbs every single day, not just to cook, but also to make tea and to make infusions and as well as tinctures that really help me in my own process. And in my experience through my awakening process, different kind of herbs have helped me to tap into memories of my childhood and make peace with things or remember some kind of memories that I had blocked. And these were the moments that it really dropped me to my knees because I was like, holy moly, I had forgotten totally about this. And there was a really beautiful experience that I had. I'm going to share with you about calendula. And I knew that it was calendula, but I hadn't worked with it in the form of tea. And so she took me into a memory when my parents and I and my brother used to go to the beach in Lima while we were waiting for some kids to take some English classes that my parents will do kind of like school bus things. And it was wonderful because I had forgotten about those pretty beautiful memories with my family, because I'm sure that you are in your journey, whether you are really deep into the journey, whatever that means at times, or just starting your journey, like the concentration at times can be so much into like all the traumas and the intensity of growing up and not being understood and whatever your parents or your family did not do for you that you really needed at that moment. But at times we might forget, and I totally did, about the beautiful memories and times that we have had in our childhood. And so we really need to like balance it out, right? And this is what herbs help me to do so, because they have so much wisdom. I mean, where do they come from? The earth, right? And so this is something that I also talked about in my blog, because what happens is that yes, it is about the earth, right? It's about how you place the seed, and it's about the earth itself, where you place it, and the love. You're constantly talking to these wonderful beings, right? But this seed came from somewhere. The seed came from somewhere, and this somewhere is the earth. And this tiny little seed that might not even look like it's nothing, just carries so much wisdom, because it has literally, it's like a womb. This is how I see it, and this has been my experience about it. It's literally the womb of creation. It can become anything. And if you have actually worked with herbs, or if you have seen not just an herb but a flower bloom, right? It comes from a tiny seed, and then it breaks through, and then all these vines are coming through, and then it expands, and then it blooms. So this is life. This is life. And it is like, when we look at it, it is the awakening process. We're cracking through those shells, we're cracking through the parts that we had forgotten about us. And so we break through from the shadows, from the darkness in the womb of creation, to expand and literally crack to the shell and extend up to the sun, and then bloom. And this is why I love just watching nature, because it's like, holy moly, you're such a powerful, powerful mirror of the awakening process of us, of us. And so if this tiny seed comes from the earth, and it has all the potential to become whatever it is it wants to become, based, of course, on water, on love, on caring, whatever it is that the person is telling it, right? It's alive. It has the potential, again, to become anything it desires. And what a beautiful, oh my goodness. I get so like, this is so good. What a blessing that is for us. And so if it has this energies to become whatever it is that it desires, it carries the energies of the earth, because it comes from the earth, just like we do, right? It comes from the earth. At one moment, this seed was also nurtured by somebody else through another experience of itself. And the wisdom that it comes through is the wisdom of Mother Earth, as everything is connected. The wisdom of the ancestors. This is why it had the ability to remind me of things, to remind me of my childhood, to remind me of the farm that my grandparents have in Lima, that I used to go there as a kid too, with my parents and my brother. And of course, it knows, when we really speak about consciousness, that it's just so vast, and it really knows everything, and everything is connected. It knows, the consciousness itself knows what you actually need to remember at the moment, what kind of connection your being desires in order to raise higher or to be of service for you. So of course, this beautiful plant, calendula, knew at that moment that it was in my best alignment to actually remember those memories at the beach, to remember those beautiful memories that I had with my family. And because that just opened up this whole memory field of my childhood. And who doesn't want to remember those beautiful moments, right? Especially if you have or have been going through a really intense awakening process where it's all shadow work, and all these things are coming up, and it's like, holy moly, when is this going to end? And then it's so being so much in this deep shadow work, you forget about the beautiful moments, the laughter, the joy, the community, like the interaction with family. Oh, wow. Wow. So, of course, and it wasn't just calendula. Of course, I was like, whoa. And it was from the very beginning of class, because of this course, because the very first herb that we worked with was nettles, and I had never heard about nettles. But it took me again into the remembrance that I have worked with herbs before, that I have a really deep connection with herbs. And through that, so many activations happen in me through that remembrance. So, what kind of vibrations and also wisdom that these beautiful herbs contain. In my experience, as I said before, it is the wisdom of a beautiful planet Earth. But it also depends on how much we're willing to open up and receive that. Just like when somebody gives you an advice, right? If you're not searching for the advice, you might get really pissed off and be like, hey, I don't want to hear it. But then if you're searching for that advice, you're like, okay, you are super present at that moment and you pay attention because you've been searching for it, right? And of course, again, consciousness, like the vibrations know what is it that you need. Yet at the same time, you must surrender. You must show that reverence. Not just being like, thank you. Not just seeing this, oh my gosh, it's just calendula. An example, it's just calendula and whatever is a plant, I'll just make tea. No, it's also us. That is also, again, a mirror of yourself that carries so many vibrations in such a different way than you, right? So my belief anyways is the plants are not going like we are in our heads, right? There's just like this deep unconditional love, like puppies. I love this kinds of examples because I have my beautiful puppy that's 9 months old and he's just like, whoa, such a deep ball of unconditional love. And they're there to serve you. If you have had a puppy, you have a puppy, your puppy's just like, yeah, I'm gonna play, or licking you or playing with you or just like hugging you, cuddling you, so it's like the same thing. This is again based on my experience, how they're like, okay, I'm here, all right, do I get to hug you today, and do you want this hug? All right, okay. And so like, yes, please hug me. Please hug me and give me all the wisdom that I'm ready to receive and that I've been calling upon, because this is again in my journey, something that I had been calling upon. And wow, right? Wow. So here now the question is like, are you willing to go into that space of surrender, and really just let yourself be held by these allies, by the wisdom of the herbs, that is the wisdom of the planet, that is your own wisdom? Are you willing to really sit with them with such a reverence and treat them with so much respect? So you remember one more time the wisdom of our ancestors. There's a reason why our ancestors use herbs and plants and all this medicine. And it's been like, this is what makes me so sad at times, that it's just being cut off. And of course, again, this is based on my experience and also of the people that I work with, that it's just kind of like, we don't even think about it. Even when you're cooking, okay, like maybe you use a bunch of herbs, but are you actually thinking all the medicine that these herbs are carrying to you? And do you even pay attention where they come from? I mean, I grew up in a way that no, like we didn't care. It's like, okay, that's salt. All right, that's pepper. I mean, I think as far as I know, that's kind of like one of the things that my family used, or comino, cumin. But it wasn't just like, oh, this is medicine too. This can really help me. And so I had to rewire my system to remember that. And of course, I had to make space for that in all the processes that I had been going through through my awakening process. And then, like switch this style of living that is just like, okay, it's just salt or it's just pepper. But it's like, wow, thank you, medicine. Thank you, consciousness. Thank you, earth, because it is through the earth it comes from. It is through the love, the deep unconditional love of the earth, that all these things bloom. And at times, honestly, we fuck it up. And for sure, I've done that before many, many times. But then we can actually make a difference in our planet. And I'm so grateful that so many of us in this journey are actually making the change and treating things with so much respect. And it is not just like, oh, it's just this thing. That a flower is a family, that a tree is our family, that there is so much wisdom in them, that we can rely and lean on them. And when we do that, when I did that, again, one more time, that just helped me. This is why I work with plant medicine. because I know, as a human, I don't have all the answers, but I can lean on the love of plant medicine so they can show me the answers that have been here for so long. So then my life is not like a zombie-like life as a human, but just a powerful being that is having a human experience and is this multidimensional being that taps into all those dimensions and the consciousness of it, the consciousness of life, the deep love of life, and it changes everything. I'm sure you have experienced something like that. And why wouldn't we give ourselves a chance to experience and remember that connection when it's so healing, when it's so nurturing, when it's so divine? So I invite you, to just be curious. Be curious. This is if you are curious about this kind of connections, about the healing that can happen through herbs in your life. And not just physically, of course, like mentally, emotionally, spiritually. If you really feel the call to do so, is your soul literally telling you something, sending you a message. So if the message resonates with you, maybe this is the one thing that you were waiting for, is some kind of confirmation. Or maybe you're already working with them, and how amazing, how amazing. But there is so much to life. There is so much to life, and there are so many allies out there. And I'm not just talking again about our guides, our angels, etc., but here physically in our earth that we can really lean on, that we can trust. Because at times, not sure about you, but in my experience, in my journey, it had been very challenging to trust humans. That's why I rely on the energetics when the Kundalini awakening happened, because I didn't feel safe to trust on the humans. I felt safe to trust on the energetics and my guides and angels and deities that I work with. And then slowly I had to open up to trust what was in this physical earth, to trust me, first of all, because it was a reminder that I wasn't really trusting myself fully. And plants, of course, herbs, cacao, mami ayahuasca, psychedelics totally helped me to really trust them, because they show me something that humans were not able to show me. And through the showing experience, again, it was a really deep activation into the remembrance of what I am and my experience here, and how worthy I am to have that experience here. And so are you. You are so worthy to have the most divine experience as a human being that you desire, that you've been calling upon. But again, that all depends on you and your willingness to open it up, your willingness to actually do the work. Sometimes the work is not just doing all this deep shadow work, but it's also like looking outside of your window and seeing a palm tree. There's a palm tree outside my window. Or maybe even seeing the little garden that your mom has. Or maybe just paying attention on how the bees really stay in their flowers. Oh my goodness, it's so beautiful. Or even having what little plants around you. It's so wonderful when we do that and take that pause. It's so needed in the system. And through that, many openings happen. And perhaps one of the openings in your journey could be that connection with the herbs. And I totally, totally believe that it's our birthright to do so. Why would they be here when they're so healing and nurturing? And why are they making such a big difference in our lives as we continue to awaken and go deeper into the remembrance of who we are? Wow. 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 So they're here for a reason. And as I said, for me, the reason is to help us connect into our ancestry, into our ancestors, and the wisdom they carry, how they lived their lives, to help us live a better life and a happier and healthier life. Wow. So good, so good, so good. If you are around the Kansas area, around Lawrence, which is on the east side of Kansas, I invite you also to go visit the store of my teachers, which is called Good Earth Gatherings. Such a like tongue twist when I say it. But it's a beautiful, beautiful shop. I mean, you can also look at their website. I will put it down below. You just give it a click. Yeah, and they're just really wonderful, very wonderful, wonderful humans, wonderful women. And I'm very grateful for the connection that I shared with them. And I look forward to interview them in the podcast because they have so much wisdom, so much wisdom. And when I find a woman like that, or women like that, I'm just like, all right, I gotta share you because you've made a difference in my life. Imagine if more people knew about you. Holy moly. So, yeah, give it a click if you feel the connection. Do some research on herbs, or feel free to send me a message. I love to, honestly would love to hear about you, and if you have already had your experience with herbs and what herbs you connect deeply with. So I'll just share a little bit of the herbs that I connect deeply with, and then I will see you later. So nettles, I love nettles, calendula too, and plantain. I normally do an infusion of plantain, calendula, and nettles. I also love tulsi, holy basil. Oh my gosh, especially for the winter time. Oh my gosh, it was heaven, heaven to keep my inner fire going rather than using all my energy to stay warm. So, especially because it was my first winter in Kansas last year. And it was a little intense. But there's so many of them, you know. Of course, cacao is one, right? But I'm referring into like the herbs that I just learned, or that I have been learning in my course. Anyways, much love, many blessings. I mean, I could continue to talk for hours about how much they have helped me, but giving you a little nuggets. And if you feel the call to reach out and share your experience, I'd love to hear it. If no, I will see you next time. Blessings and selfies.